No, I'm going to, we'll start the meetup. Yes, I have to get up there, but I know we probably should start. Give me a minute, I just want to make sure that he's free. You guys can talk afterwards, we're gonna have a lot of time, or you can ask questions. Let me just text him. Did you start the live stream yet? Did you show you with Michael? Yeah, but it's for that. It's for the live stream. Can you use that? Oh, he did? Okay. Oh, does Juan is what? It will? Because I don't hear you talking. Oh. All right. Let's just, because the last time I didn't tell him to start it, the thing did cut off half of it. To get started, like 7:20. Yeah, that's why I'm doing. Testing 1, 2, 3. We're gonna start as soon as I wait. Okay, I'm calling him. Did you start? Did you start with the live stream yet?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because we had dead air. And I took one of the mics, the handheld one.
Okay, no worries.
Because I need that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and everybody is hearing me talk to you on the live stream. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. We're almost, okay, I need somebody to do me a favor. I want Sean Lazan to sit right here. I need you to film me, all right, please. And then when I'm done, when I'll sit down here, and then you can hand me my phone, and I will continue to film him, if you don't mind. Here. So it's almost set up, and I'm usually nervous, but I'm not.
It's because you're going to be great.
Don't do it. Yeah, that's all.
You're not done. You're all good.
All right.
Do you want the B-roll? Okay, look at it.
No. Honestly, we don't want anybody going rogue, because the last guy went rogue, and he accidentally pressed slow-mo, and that was last month. It's like, so, and then I forgot to use this for the live stream, and that's unusable, so. Well, please don't. Otherwise, I'm taking that away from you and I'm giving it to him, or Rohit. All right, you know what? I'm so happy you're all here. Really, really. And I don't normally go off the cuff. Is that Doug Sema? Oh my God, how are you? You look great, by the way. It's been a long time. You don't need to do that. Do not do rogue. What did I tell you? I'm taking that away from you. You need to just keep it on me, please. I'm serious. I'm not joking, okay? So here we go. Welcome, everyone. We've rebranded, and I want to welcome everybody to our 2026 AI Automation and Marketing Meetup. Our acronym now is AIAM. Before we get started, I wanted to quickly share one thing. Well, yes, that's not going to happen because I was going to do a QR code tonight and I didn't get to it. So I'm Sharon DeCaro, your organizer and host since June of 2023. And there's Dennis Hall coming in. See, he's usually my video guy. So anyways, we're going to have a good speaker lineup for this year. We now have 2,300 members in the group. And 2026 is shaping up with strong voices, sharing what's current, practical, and actually working in AI. If you have an AI tool or software and you'd like an opportunity to present here, DM me on LinkedIn. I'm also actively looking for sponsors, so if you or your company want visibility in front of this audience, DM me on LinkedIn. Quick context on what I do. I'm a brand strategist, an AI consultant, and I do LinkedIn strategy. I help you with your personal brand. I get content out there for you, so if that's something you need, hit me up on DM, because I was on a LinkedIn Live today with some of the biggest LinkedIn influencers in the world. You have no idea how bad your LinkedIn profile looks. They were doing, they were doing roasts on people's profiles, and it was just amazing. It was wild to see it. So just letting you know. Anyway, so that's what I do, and the more your LinkedIn profile is optimized and you do posts and all that other good stuff, it does drive it's a good lead generation tool. And it's also good for keywords. It pops up in searches. One quick ask, if you find value in this meetup, I was gonna say LinkedIn, and you post, please tag me if you write a post so that I know we're doing a good job. And that helps others discover the community and helps me see what's resonating. Now here's our rundown for tonight. Networking from 6:30 to 7, well, we're at 7:10 now. We'll start our main presentation and we'll have Q&A, but that could go in between somewhere too. We need to clear out by 8:30, and if you park in the building, yes, come see me afterwards. I'll give you a discounted voucher for $8. Don't forget. Okay, shout out and huge thanks to Station Austin at the Capitol Factory. They've rebranded, and the meetups now are all under their new arm called the Station Austin. So we want to thank them for this. And they're still a part of the Capitol Factory, but it's new. And I also want to thank Elijah Singer. He's our liaison. So now I'm going to talk about our wonderful, wonderful speaker. I met Tommy Landry when I first moved to Austin in 2017. He's been here forever. He's also been in SEO forever. So he knows what he's doing. And he's the founder of Return On Now and a recognized expert in AI-driven discoverability. Bringing more than 25 years of digital marketing experience, he specializes in SEO, AEO, AIO, it sounds like McDonald's. Oh, not McDonald's, oh, McDonald's. AIO and GEO, helping brands understand how visibility works in the AI era. We're being cited, recommended, and trusted by AI systems matters more than traditional rankings. He's also the author of From SEO to AEO to GEO, the new rules of search in the age of AI, a practical guide to how search answer engines and generative AI now work together to determine which brands get seen. You can find that on Amazon, okay? It's really good. In tonight's session, AI-driven discoverability for marketers in 2026, Tommy will break down how AI, AEO, you know, the whole AI thing, and SEO intersect, how AI is reshaping early stage buying behavior, what LLMs look for when selecting sources, and how to position your content, websites, and LinkedIn profiles to be chosen by AI rather than buried in search results. So without further ado, let's welcome my friend Tommy Landry.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? It's working? Okay, great. Thank you. That was very thorough. I almost don't have to present that. You covered me. So, yeah. So all those acronyms, there's so many, right? you've probably seen SGO, NGO, AIO, AEO, all the industry scrambling to be the people who get to make up the acronym that we use. The two that make the most sense are GEO and AEO, and I'll explain why in this presentation. The rest of them they're nice. Like AIO is really AEO. Like there's a lot of overlap. NGO is GEO, right? So you'll see various publications. It's kind of just set in on one and not talk about the other, but really it's time for us to, as an industry, to start looking at them differently because they're different animals. So let me I have a quick slide about who I am, but I don't know if I really need to say much about this. Sharon just covered all that. The one thing I do want to mention, I started working on this AI search stuff as soon as ChatGPT was available and as soon as AI overviews hit. So I knew it was going to be an issue from day one, and I knew it was going to be a threat to SEO, threat per se. Now I'm thinking by the end of this year, it's going to be 30% of search. So if it's 30% of search, Google's going to be floating maybe in the 65% range. That's a huge difference from from where it's been in the past. I mean, Google's like 90% now, 88 on a bad year. So anyway, let me go ahead and get into this now. So like we just talked about, everybody knows SEO is just not going to cut it in the future. If if you work in marketing in a company, you're probably seeing your traffic fade, right? It's happening to everybody. If you see the same SERP, you've got the AIO overview and your stuff's pushed out. That's just kind of how it is. So we all know it's changed. The AI is actually handling a large part of the sales funnel now. So, customers are actually seeing your information before they get to your website. And that's massively different for a lot of people, right? For a lot of websites that get them in, convert the lead, work them over then. That's not how it works anymore. They're getting all the way to the decision phase and they're popping out the back end ready to buy. So the content you have available and the way you're talked about really makes a huge difference for how AI presents you. And so we need to start thinking about that. Like, it's not just content for readers, it's content for AI to say the right things about you. Because otherwise, they may say the wrong thing and present you as a completely different entity. I actually had a client where one of their competitors wrote not nice things about them and AI believed it. And so there's a whole sentiment angle, right? And a lot of businesses are still optimizing for traffic and they're like, well, we'll figure out AI one day, right? So everyone knows they need to do it. People don't really know how, and there's a lot of mixed information out there. For example, some people are like, oh, just write a bunch of stuff that answers questions. That'll get you on AI, right? And this is the one that really bugs me. It's just SEO. It's all SEO. Nothing's different. That's wrong. So, and then all AI needs is for you to mark up. Are you guys familiar with semantic markup content? It's become a bigger deal. It was already kind of something you should do for SEO. Now it's a must-have, but it's not the only thing. So there's several things, but it's none of this is wrong. Just none of these are the answer. These are all just kind of it kind of still is SEO, but it's SEO plus something, which is why I say none's wrong. So makes sense for everyone at this point? All right. So there's some missing context. You've got search results. You know what that is. The 10 blue links, as they've been calling it for the last, year or so. You've got AI answers, which are actually real-time assembled using AI, pulling from websites, which that's kind of a hybrid, right? It's not quite search, but it is AI, but it's not like an LLM, right? And then you've got AI outputs, which are like your LLM outputs. So they're trained, they learn, they're retrain, they get more input, and they use that to generate answers, and they're really good at complex logic. But they're not really good at finding out what happened yesterday, right? So they're different platforms, and that's why there's different disciplines I'm going to be talking about. Each follows completely different rules, but they overlap. That's kind of where the complexity comes in. And a lot of people they just don't see where they overlap, and we're going to get to that. So let me first go to how does AI produce outputs in a little bit more detail. So you've got something called RAG. It means retrieval augmented generation. You may have heard the term. That's like AI overviews, and Perplexity does it as well. They're actual platforms that they have knowledge already, but they pull from websites. They assemble that into new answers. They push it through some AI, and they give you the output. It can instantly update, like with whatever you publish. And they do tend to show links. So like, the AI overview, you get the little side panel. It's like, here's our sources. It's that. They're actually pulling that in real time, and that actually can change on a daily basis. And I've run experiments where there was not, a website was not listed in the sidebar there. We made a bunch of changes. The next day, they hopped in like the second. In fact, I have a case study. I'm going to explain on that later. The other one's parametric. It's memory-based. It's your LLMs. They have the knowledge. They have volumes of knowledge. This is like what everybody's upset about. Oh, you're crawling all my stuff, stealing and learning from it. Yeah, it's trained. That's what it is. True to my natural nature, you're not going to get through a presentation by me without a meme or two. This side, it's like Varys, right? If you're a Game of Thrones person, you know this guy. He's a guy, you ask him for something, he gets it done, right? He goes out, figures it out, finds what he needs. Other side is this guy, my favorite from the show. He drinks, hangs out, has the knowledge already. Different systems, different rules, and then they're going to have different acronyms. Let me go ahead and steal my own thunder. So, okay, this is what the three things actually mean. You got SEO, AEO, GEO. SEO is the traditional stuff, Google, Bing, you know what all that is. You pursue keywords, you optimize content, make sure your technical's in order, build links, all that stuff. AEO is where they're pulling the live retrieval. So it's answer engine, right? They're producing live answers from content in real time. And then the GEO, again, it's the LLM stuff. So you can see in what it requires, what you have to do to actually, and this is a basic, we're going to get a little more detail, but these are kind of like the things they look for, right? And I mentioned SEO, technical health, you want to have good content that's authoritative, it's optimized, strong performance on your website, et cetera. Structure and entities start to come in when you get to AI. The way you structure your content has to change for AI to like it, just say it that way. So whereas narrative used to be a lot more useful for SEO, now AI wants to see specific things in specific places, mapped out specific ways, and markup becomes an issue here. This is where markup is like doubly important. So the semantic stuff I talked about, for answer engines, it's super important. And this is where we get into entities. Are y'all familiar with this concept? Entities? Yeah? Like an entity could be anything. It could be like a person, company. It could be a product. It could be a recipe, song lyrics. If you've ever been to schema.org, there's a gazillion different options of what entities can be. And designating entities is important because AI lives and breathes on that more than on keywords. So the concept kind of makes sense to everyone. You're going to hear more about entities as we go through this because for AI, you just need to get used to the language. Then for GEO, it's really getting more into like, as an entity now, is this an authoritative source that I should care about? This is why the first push of like what you see coming out of LLMs is probably going to be big company stuff because they're big entities, they're well known, they're established. It's super important to establish yourself as an entity that's important, at least in a specific area, if you want the LLMs to care about what you have to say. So, make sense to everyone? So the entities kind of stack. There's entities in content, but there's entities as like the author, and they're different, and they all matter. So, not the same as SEO, right? Okay. So here's kind of what you do to pursue them. So SEO, it's like the foundation. If you do good SEO, you're prepared for the other stuff. If you don't do good SEO, go fix it. That's the first step. Fix your crawlability, your indexing, your website performance. Those are table stakes for SEO, also for the other two acronyms. Authority and trust signals still matter, link building, industry mentions, those kind of things. And then, you really want to have everything done as well as possible in SEO, even the keywords, which aren't going to matter as much for the other layers, but you want to still do them because they attach to what topics you're going to be seen as important for. So keywords still matter, but they don't actually officially influence the other areas. So then you got AEO. Again, it's targeting the real-time stuff. Now it's looking, how do you structure the content so AI can extract what you want them to? So it's not just like, it's not one of these things where you tell this long story and like you want to see a recipe, like since I mentioned it, you got their life story, and then you've got like the side story and another, all right, my sister's life story, oh, here's a recipe. You don't want to do that for AI, just give them the darn information. Whatever you want them to talk about, put it up top. How you structure it, like the actual format matters. Bulleted lists, They love it. You don't use bullet lists and tables. You don't use H tags. Do you guys know what H tags are? I don't know how much of your marketing versus mainly AI, so I'm asking. H tags being like the headers, right, on the page. Those need to be structured in very specific ways. What you put in them matters. And you can actually make a huge difference in whether the answer engines want to mention you. I've run tons of experiments. If you build these right, it actually works. And you can get an AI overview overnight with content that's already ranking #1, but not there. So, yeah, so that's the main thing on the AEO. It's really the page structure is huge. Now, when you get to the GEO, you're talking about other things. You're talking about your expertise. Are you seen as an expert in a topic? So we have these things called topic clusters. You've probably heard of them from SEO. How are your topic clusters built? Are they the right ones? How are they interlinked? All that affects how GEO looks at your content. So are you a brand they care about? Are you a topic expert? Like, those are entities, and those are things that they look for. So you see now how it's like, I'm not optimizing a page, I'm optimizing an ecosystem is what's going on around maybe me as an author or me as a company. Make sense to everyone? I saw a couple of nods.
Is the entity like the author or the company?
Or both,
The
yeah.
authority on that topic?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It can be either or both. And so, yeah, that basically, the other thing is you have to, like, the way you present the information, it likes to have a lot of factual proof, like data. So, don't just say you did something or say something is true, tell it why. Well, like I just said, I've run experiments and it worked, and here's the data. Yeah?
So, if this is on our website, is there a hidden way to, is it just solely the structure on the live page, or is there like a plug-in where you can be extremely clear and be like entity, blah, blah, blah?
Semantic markup. That's where you do it. Semantic markup is where you define your entities. Yeah. You can define company, article, breadcrumb, FAQ. This is why everyone's using FAQs now, because you can write your FAQ and then mark it up for FAQ. And that actually gets you to people also ask. I've experimented with that a lot. It works. People also ask is great because you can get traffic from it. So did that help a little bit?
Yeah, I was just wondering also, aside from schema markup, are there any other little secret tricks to do besides just organizing it well on the page with like H1 and H2?
So the way you talk about something matters. Like, if you call it one thing on one place and another thing in another place, it'll confuse the AI. So you have to be consistent. That consistency and clarity of what that entity is, it's in the messaging as well. So it's the words you actually write, and then mark it up. If you can do both, AI is going to like that.
Okay, and then we won't get dinged for keyword stuffing if we keep saying the same thing consistently?
I just mean, like, when you describe something, describe it as the same thing. Like, some people have different descriptions for, like, their product. And then AI gets confused. They're like, okay, is it a SaaS or is it a something else or like whatever, right? You always call it the same, define it as the same thing. And they'll see it as the same thing. Yeah. So there is some in the messaging. Yeah.
To what extent are like classic question and answer platforms like or Reddit or
Yeah.
the GEO?
That's fluid. Back in, I guess, summer, they were massively important. And then ChatGPT just dropped Reddit in September. And they picked it back up a couple months ago. So I would say it's still useful for you to be mentioned there. But I wouldn't go and like spend like 10 grand on trying to get Reddit mentions, because you never know when they're going to pull the rug again. Honestly, I saw some studies like back in the June timeframe where something like 60% of citations were actually a combination of content on Reddit, like agreeing with each other. They actually really like Trustpilot and stuff like that, G2. So it's a pay-to-play model now with that. You might as well do it if you're in an industry that is on there. Yeah.
So that's just chat.
No, that's all the LLMs. All the LLMs. Yeah, there's slight differences on each, but they're how they verify the entity and verify like the quality of what you do. Reviews matter a lot, and those platforms, they all love them. Like, you'll actually see them quoted. Well, according to Trustpilot, these are the top 5, whatever, fintech, blah, 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 firms or whatever it is. Yeah. But Reddit, I mean, it's good for you to be mentioned on Reddit. You don't have to be linked on Reddit. That's the other thing. LLMs don't care about the links so much as the mentions. So that's a big difference from SEO. Good question, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
What does influence how brands are presented at a high level?
Yeah, that's some of what we're talking about. So if you do PR, for example, and you get coverage, that's going to affect how the LLMs see you if it's on reputable sources. I mean, if it's just on some random rag, it won't count. But if it's like New York Times, then that's, so it's not a one-to-one on the authority like with Google, because Google has all the spam signals and other randomness in there. They really look at like, okay, that's a really big brand of the press. So what they say holds some weight. So they'll use it in that way. So yeah, who's talking about you, whether they link to you or not, actually matters even more than it did with Google. And that's across all of them.
How do they, since they don't use links as like an identifier, I'm just using random, like let's say a company called reputation.com.
Yeah.
And there's an article about reputation and blah, blah, blah. And that article will say reputation over and over and over again. Like, how does the LLM know if reputation.com is just getting like, a standing ovation
Yeah.
here, or maybe it's a stupid question. Maybe it's
No,
not,
it's a good question. It goes back to entities. Is it being talked about in the way that company talks about themselves? Oh, that's them. And they actually, I mean, they look at patterns. That's what LLMs are. They're pattern recognition, right? And I'll talk about that again in a minute, but they're kind of guessing based on what you ask them what the next word should be as the output. And so they look at the patterns and they're like, okay, well, that's irrelevant, that's relevant. That's actually the entity. And so if you're not being talked about externally like you are, then that's actually a messaging issue where people aren't getting what you're saying. And so you need to fix that. So that's actually a really insightful question for this particular part. Yeah.
What about Google reviews and Facebook reviews?
Yeah, those are still good. They're still good.
Trustpilot?
No, they don't hold as much weight, but they still hold some weight. So, yeah. Did you have a question? I saw a half raise.
Yeah, I was curious. He kind of asked it, but you may be going into this later, how you think about this, what you recommend based
Yeah.
on the kind of business
Yeah,
you're running, a SaaS business versus like a retail business.
yeah,
Let's say.
yeah, it changes. There's a lot of local signals when you get into retail and, kind of in the city. And that actually then, that's where local SEO still matters, and especially markup, local business, those kind of things. That, like, where you are matters. So folks who already mark up their location on the website and have like a real strong presence across directories, that all feeds in too. So there's some overlap, actually more overlap in local SEO and what these platforms put out than the rest of it. So yeah, that's an important one.
Is it also ingesting all the multimedia you might have, like video?
It might, yeah.
and
I mean,
customer testimonials, case studies?
yeah, the stuff that can process it will. I mean, I use the LLMs to extract stuff from images and tell me, okay, analyze this. I don't even have to type it in, or I don't have to I don't need the text. I get the image and I'm like, read all this and extract it for me and tell me what I should be thinking about this. Should I do this, this, or this? And it's really good at doing it. Like when I was editing my slides, I would throw a slide into ChatGPT and say, do you see any grammar errors? And it was like, oh yeah, you missed a period here. Like it totally could see it. And it was just a screenshot. Yeah.
So are we to think that chat is your go-to?
Chat is? What do you mean? It's both really, but I use ChatGPT as an employee. So I've been on it since I was on the waiting list before it came out. So yeah, but I've actually become really fond of Gemini lately. Gemini, it sucked when it came out, but it's gotten way better. Yeah. And I've used the others. Perplexity is a good one to get kind of like a hybrid model. It's like works like a ChatGPT, but it's real time. So it's kind of cool. If you're looking for have it analyze sports data, it's way better than ChatGPT, which we'll start talking about 2023, So it just depends what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, we good? Want to go on? I want to leave time at the end if there are any questions. So we've got about 20 minutes left. So
No, you can go to 8.
I can go to 8. Okay,
You can
good.
go to 8:05
Okay.
because I told you
Oh, snap.
turn it off at 8:10.
Okay.
So keep going.
Okay. It's gonna be like be like the Oscars when they just pull the plug on the mic. Okay, so here's a basic list of what they look for. If you do these things, you're probably doing okay. So accurate and certainty. They want to make sure you're not feeding information that's not true, and that it's, you're giving it a reason to believe, right? So that's the data, the real-time experience, whatever. Freshness is huge. They love freshness. You'll get, just by being newer, you can get cited, and one of the markup things you can do as an article, for example, is to put published date, last modified date. That's actually part of the markup. And you can actually like boost something just by updating it. I've tested this, it worked. I went into some of my own blog posts, I added the markup, last mod date, and in the post I put update it whatever day, and things that have fallen off page 1 pop back up on, yeah, like, I mean, like the AIO overview I'm at. Yeah, so that does matter. That's specifically, especially for AEO, a little different for GEO because they have to train on it to see that it's fresh, but eventually. Like I mentioned, firsthand expertise, they love that because that's the thing that separates you from the AI slop, as they call it out there, right? It's just assimilating like things that a bunch of people are saying versus, hey, here's a real case study that I worked on. Like, they love that. That's a great way for you to get a leg up. So just firsthand experience, yeah.
So, what's the difference? You said it's different than AEO, it's different than GEO, or a little.
Yeah.
What's
It's
the difference?
timing is timing. Like, I can change something now and affect Perplexity, the AI overview, by tomorrow, but there's going to be a cycle of training on the other LLMs eventually, and then it'll update.
What is GEO?
GEO is the LLMs that are like the not real-time ones.
Not real time.
Yeah.
AEO is,
Yeah.
real
Yeah. So the RAG, real-time generation, that's AEO, and that's like Google AI overviews, Bing's AI search, ChatGPT search, Perplexity, those kind of platforms. But then like actual ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Bing Copilot, the standard one, those are all, they get trained and then they eventually get trained again. But that's GEO, yeah. The GEO gets you into those. So I have transparency with a little thing next to it, also notability, and I'll get to that why in a minute, but actually let me just say now, so you've heard of Google EAT, E-E-A-T, yeah, it's like experience, something, trust, I forget what they mean, but I have a model I created called NEAT, and it actually is optimized for AI. So it's like Google EAT, but optimized for AI. I have a blog post about it on my website if you want to read about it. It's like, what is EAT and what does it mean, NEAT, and what does it mean for SEO? The notability is important because that talks to entities. So where I say authors and brands with strong online reputations, that's notability. And so if you're trying to analyze things like you would with Google EAT, I would recommend trying that model because it actually works better. Yeah. So the rest of this, are your definitions clear? Like, are your entities defined the same everywhere? And is your content structured logically? So again, they like tables, bullet points, subheads. They really like the point at the top. And I have a page structure next, actually. Let me show you that. So this is a good AI optimized page. So a lot of folks are calling it like a TLDR summary. If the snippets you want AI to talk about, put it at the top. Just, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you remind them what you told them at the end, that old thing about speeches. It's huge for AI. If you can get the bottom line at the top and then give all the proof beneath it, it's going to make a huge difference with the same piece of content, making AI happy. Think of it that way. Of course, you want to have a definitive stance, right? So like, I'm very clear about this is what I believe. You're going to talk about the entities, make sure they're clear. Again, the subheads, you're going to prove it, facts, original insights, all those things. And then the summary should also reinforce the TLDR. And then I mentioned to the side, make sure you have the markup that supports all this. So if you build pages like that, AI is going to like you more, like at least on the AEO side for sure.
What does TLDR stand for?
Too long, didn't read. Too long, didn't read.
Oh, I gotta go hold this.
Yeah, yeah.
They're doing great.
Yeah. It's real. I've started to do it in my own content over the last year or so, and it works. And a client I just worked with, they were struggling to show up on any of the AI platforms, and we actually went in, we picked prompts, we decided what we wanted each page to show up for. We actually went in, picked a page, optimized it for the prompt, and it was like, in fact, I have a case study about that in a couple slides, but it worked. Like, we were just real-time testing, just hitting pages and seeing where they went. And they were using Right Sonic to track it. They ended up leaving that platform, but that platform is actually pretty decent at tracking. There's not really a good one yet, you know? They all say they have it, but none of them are doing it right. Okay, I want to mention some mistakes. If you're chasing rankings instead of authority, it's a fading, you know, it's a sinking ship. Basically, SEO, it's not going to be completely gone, but it's not going to deliver you the volume that it would have, you know, even 3 years ago. Thin and generic content, just stop doing it. You know, include stuff with facts and unique insights. Try to keep your content 1,000 words or more when you can at this point, because AI is going to just like just ignore it. If it's like 300 words and it's just like shallow commentary, they're not going to even care. So that's important. I aim for more than 1,000 on like especially blog posts or research, you know, like data output, whatever. If you can get to 1,500 to 2,000, even better. Diminishing returns hit on both Google and AI probably around 2,500 words, where it stops being like beneficial per word to add it. Markup, I keep talking about it. If you don't do it, start doing it. You should, or get someone to do it for you. The summaries for extraction are big, front and center. And then of course consistent, make sure your entities are consistent, and treating this as optional. If you do so now, you're going to regret it in a year. This is here to stay. And honestly, I think at some point Google's going to flip to AI completely, at which point if you've ignored this, you might not be present at all. So it doesn't hurt to do it. You might as well embrace it, because it's the new world. Yeah.
Do you think you should literally say TLDR or a little heading that says summary
Yeah.
at the top? Like, is there something
Yeah.
AI likes to see more?
You could do TLDR if you want, but you don't have to. ChatGPT loves that one for some reason. It just laps it up. It does. ChatGPT, if you put literally TLDR, ChatGPT loves that. But you can just put, yeah. Yeah. I like, you know, executive summary, or just like in your first paragraph, just like say it, you know. It's however, you know, you want it to be good for people too. And if you think TLDR is going to turn off your audience, then I wouldn't do it, you know. Executive summary is usually pretty good. That's a little formal. So if it's not that kind of website, maybe don't do that either. On mine, I don't like either of them. I just give the answer at the top in the first paragraph and then proceed with the information. Yeah.
So this makes me think, if I make the text white or hidden, does it read that?
I mean, AI probably would. Yeah, I don't know. Now, I don't actually have an answer on whether or not it's a problem for AI, because I've never explored that. I need to go find out.
Really? See,
Yeah.
like, do I want to, if TLDR is good, like, do I want to add TLDR
Yeah.
to the
I mean,
non-text? So I was like, hey, what does TLDR
Yeah.
mean? Everyone's saying that. Which
yeah,
is,
yeah,
like, our priority, I
Yeah.
imagine, still should be for humans.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
at the point where we don't write any
no. Yeah, I wouldn't do any trickery in general, because Google's would be like, oh, they're cloaking text, and then that can get your whole site delisted. And it's just not worth the risk. Because, I mean, Google's still the bulk of the traffic, right? I think I'm getting maybe 15% of my traffic from AI, and I'm doing all the right stuff. So it's not there yet. So, and if anyone's getting more than that, there are a few niches where they're getting up to 30% of the traffic already from AI, but very, very few niches. So, okay, so some quick wins. This is a big eye chart. Yeah, feel free to take a picture. They're kind of all the things I've been talking about, right? So it's like clear page summaries, structured data, factor-rich content, internal linking, which I didn't mention on the last slide, but that's super important. They love definitions and comparisons, and so does people also ask. So it's something that, because people also ask is technically an AI feature. I consider it part of AEO. The structured snippets on the SERPs are actually, they use AI to generate those. So, you know, if you ever get the kind of featured snippet at the top where it actually quotes your page, or if people also ask, those have an AI aspect to them. So, and then, you know, the rest of the stuff I've talked about, but this is kind of like the whys. You know, it's like with the clear page summaries for AEO, you know, they can extract it better. GEO is helping verify that what the page is about. So they each do something a little different, but these specific actions help with both. So, so while you can say that they're interchangeable, it's not really interchangeable, because there's a reason, the reason you do it is different across both. Yeah, so notice how I've talked about topical authority and topic clusters. There's a model I like called hub and spoke. I don't know if you've heard of this, but you get your like pillar piece, like your one piece that's like, you know, swing for the fences piece on a specific topic, and then you surround it with other things and link to it to show that that's the pillar piece. Like that's what I'm talking about. The way you internally link matters. And of course, you're going to link from other places too. Like everywhere you can if it's your pillar piece. And you want to vary up the anchors so Google doesn't ding you. One of y'all asked about over optimization. I want to avoid that too. Yeah. Excuse me.
Do LLMs understand all this stuff directly? Like if I took a website and chucked it into Claude and said,
Yeah.
hey, make this awesome with AEO, will it be like,
I don't know if I'd pick Claude. Claude's better for code. I don't know how well it would do this. I've found that I actually will take Gemini and ChatGPT and make them argue with each other sometimes. I'll put it in one and say, what's wrong with this? And I'll put it in the other and ask it, what's wrong with this? The thing is, though, they're inconsistent on how they're going to answer, because they're going to give you the answer they think you want to hear, unfortunately, because there's that piece. Again, patterns, right? So if you feed it the prompt that says, this is what I want, how does this content stack up? They might slam dunk that. But if you just say, hey, is this optimized for you? They'll say, yeah, it's great. You know, especially ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just a sycophant. It's like, oh, that's a great question.
it's interesting when you say, this is what I want, like at what level do you?
Like literally prompts it like, I want to optimize for these things. It does this page achieve it? And you're going to have to be like gory detail, like to give it to it. See, they're really good at taking something and taking direction and going like, does that match? So if you already know what you want and you have it all mapped out in very clear prompts with like no fuzzy space, and then you give that to any of them, they'll probably be able to figure out whether or not the page is actually optimized. Now, they can't crawl, so keep that in mind. You have to feed the content into it as well.
So, to clarify that, if I may,
Yeah.
when you are having your AI pick of choice, summarize, go through, analyze, does this page achieve it? You're giving it either a hyperlink, well,
Hey.
that's a whole loaded question, because
Yeah.
sometimes that won't work.
Yeah. In GEO, you have to feed it the content. You have to cut and paste.
Feed it a whole entire
Yeah.
upload. What you're feeding into it is involved with, how are you feeding into it? A schematic of the entire code?
You could do that. You could do that because
I'm curious
yeah.
how you're putting it in.
You can just paste the content. If you just want it conceptually, is the content done right?
Right, then at that point, it puts it as like page whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of font, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could just give it the HTML code. You could even do that if you want. Yeah, which would be more accurate for the output.
Do you have concerns about that being used to build the next model?
It might be, yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So the other way to do it is, and now it can actually do a gap analysis. I've used ChatGPT to do gap analysis.
What is gap analysis?
So where
underlying?
it's where I'm telling it what I'm looking for, and then I'm telling it, using this, I want you to go and look at this page and see if it achieves it. And then I give it that page. And so usually you do that, I do that at the conceptual phase with the content, and then I post the content. So it'll actually, it's pretty good at doing that.
Do you ever try to ask it to think of something you're not thinking of and try to go at it from a different perspective than you
Yeah,
are?
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the best part of, like, I use ChatGPT as an employee, and I'll say, like, what's missing with this strategy?
Yep.
And it'll say, well, have you thought of this? It's like, no, thank you, So it's really good at finding, like, oversights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced this, but you've seen maybe the last hundreds of thousands of AI optimized blog posts. Would that hurt, or would it greatly help your AI AEO episodes?
If a human's involved, what you don't want to do, because here's the problem with AI, is they look for patterns, but it's their kind of lowest common denominator unless you add some human element. So what they do is they kind of look for consensus. So if you go, okay, write me a blog post about this topic, they'll come back with a consensus of what everyone says, but it's nothing new. So it might not, you still need like the authority and the entity and all that stuff. So it might just be like, oh yeah, they're just saying what everyone else says. So I've already got sources for that are more authoritative. So volume doesn't work anymore. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'd recommend getting like really, establish yourself as an expert in some areas, building topic clusters around those and going deep. That works a lot better. Like I post less to my blog than I used to because I'm focused on these topics. So, yeah, you'll succeed more with that in AI than you will with just a bunch of a million posts about whatever, but not real deep. Yeah, excuse me one sec. Just getting over a cold, so I'm avoiding a coughing fit here. Same? Yeah, whatever's going on this winter, geez. Okay, we had another one back here.
Yeah, if you have a video in your content, is AI smart enough to listen to the video, understand the content in it without like a transcript?
It depends on what the platform is and how it's formatted and how it's marked up and all that kind of stuff. I mean, again, markup is really important, and I would recommend putting a transcript to be safe.
Is markup hidden? That's the newest term of the night. Is that a hidden thing that's like not?
Yeah. A lot of plugins will do the markup for you, like Wistia. Like if you have a WordPress website, and
I have a Wix website.
how do you post the video?
I don't do this stuff. I'm here to learn.
So how?
I am in charge of my content though.
So it depends how the video is posted. If it's YouTube and then embedded, it's got some markup included in the code.
Okay.
If it's Wistia, they actually do a better embed than YouTube gives you. Yeah. And YouTube also has some other issues that's a different conversation. We'd get off in the weeds, but I actually do use YouTube videos sometimes on my website because it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm a one-man shop,
Right.
But if you can afford, if you have a team, you can afford a paid solution. It's more secure. There's some like various country issues that come up.
Wistia?
What's that? I've worked with companies that used Wistia and it worked really great for them. Yeah.
How are you spelling that?
Wistia.
That's the one I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, let me do a quick time check.
So when I make
Okay.
a video for a client, I would be wise to advise them to put it on YouTube and then put it on your site because of AEO and markup.
Yes and no. You have to be real careful because they'll do related videos and they're sometimes impossible to turn off depending how they put it on their site. And it could be the competitors that come up. So you want to be careful with that. Wistia, you control the experience. That's the other issue. Yeah, it's a paid platform. Yeah. I actually, I did a joint podcast with them about a year and a half ago, and this was the topic. So, yeah.
What's your last name again?
Landry.
Landry.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like the coach, yeah. Name too, yeah. Okay, so I got a few more slides. So let me keep moving. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get quickly through these. So if we can do the questions at the end, that way we won't finish. So this is a really good way. You want to start a task run, do this. You're going to expand and strengthen topic clusters. I talked about that. Pick your 1, 2, 3 topics that you want to own. Okay? Pick one, finish it. Move on to the next one. Citations and mentions of third-party sites. That can be links, or it could just be mentions. And that can include what the question was over here about Reddit, things like that. Excuse me. Make sure you're adding original insights and frameworks, right? Something from experience, data you've collected, things that no one else has. That's really important because if you're just saying the same thing as someone else, they might pick them, right? If you run a survey and the survey is like, wow, this is a huge aha that no one knows, publish that. LLMs love it. So that'll actually help you get some visibility. And then entity stuff, right? It's the markup as well as how you talk about things, the question we had earlier. Make sure you're consistent. If you just do that, it should help you. So then how do you know it's working? Rankings aren't going to tell the whole story. So some KPIs. These are the things I would look for. You don't necessarily need a paid solution to figure it out. If you want a full view, there is one platform, I can't remember the name of it, that actually, it'll give you a bunch of data. None of the ones that are paid right now, none of them have impressed me, and I've seen a bunch. Like SEMrush is okay. It's got some interesting data, but it's not really a full story. Right Sonic was pretty thorough, but they have a limited number of prompts you can track. Figure out what your top prompts are and go and search them. The LLMs are great at understanding the same meaning semantically. So where does your brand show up? How often across the platforms? Excuse me. You want, you want to be in the AI overviews for sure. And then, you know, sentiment. I just want to make sure sentiment and accuracy is something I mentioned, because just showing up is not enough. If you're showing up, it's because you have customer complaints. It's important to address that and provide data that the LLMs can then use to dissipate that negativity. The sentiment thing's a big deal. It's a huge risk with this, especially if you're in an industry where competitors tend to talk not nice about other competitors. I used to work in one of those, and it was not great. So, okay. So here's kind of what it looks like. Like example of AI overview. This was actually from months ago from my own website when I was trying to rank for a new AEO term. I was unable to get ranked for it at the time. I think I show up now, but at the time I wasn't there. So just, you can see only the competitors on the one over there. You got return on now shown in this one. It's just, that's where you look in the sidebar, pardon me. Once you get the answer, it'll show it up on the side. If you're not showing up, read the answer and gap analysis, compare it to your site. What do you actually say about it? Do you even have a page that fits that? If not, create it. So I actually, in fact, I have a case study, just an example. That's the goal. I'm going to just jump past that. Here's a case study. And this was actually, it was from my own website. And I've successfully done this with multiple.
Go back to the previous slide.
Yeah. This one?
That one, thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, so case study. This one's specific to my website, but I've actually run experiments with multiple clients on this, and we've seen movement like on all of them. So the page was number 1 for the term, but it wasn't showing up in the AI overview, which doesn't make any sense, right? Apparently it was very well optimized for the keyword, but the structure wasn't such that the AI overview, which is also Google, wanted to do something with it. So basically looked at what was in the AI overview and reorganized the entire page, made it AI friendly, right? All that stuff I said to do on that diagram earlier, did that basically. Strengthened the summaries, had the more clear sections, aligned it with what was showing up in the actual AI overview a little more. There were things I was saying that weren't in there. There were things that were in there that I wasn't saying. So I added, okay, that's actually a good point. I added the information. Just the gap analysis, right? And then added FAQ content and marked it up because I didn't have markup on the original post. It was a post from like 3 years ago. Just to kind of give it like more depth, more breadth, the whole thing. And so within 7 days, it jumped up to number 2 in the AI overview. It captured 3 people also asked. And this is in a week. Like, so the AEO stuff can happen fast. I just want to show that. It kept the number 1 organic ranking. It didn't move, but suddenly there was all this other visibility. So I'm a big fan of people also ask. I don't think enough people in AEO space are talking about it because it actually, you can have 50 keywords that show up in the people also ask that you don't rank for organically, all with the same blog post. I have a post I wrote called the 3 E's of content marketing like 2 years ago. And it's got a ton of people also asked because it's very well structured for AEO. And I didn't even have to change it. It was originally written well for AEO. It was just, I got lucky on that one. I wasn't even targeting at the time. Yeah.
Is there a particular social media marketing platform that optimizes AEO the most?
I mean, there's a bunch that say they do, but I don't know if any of them are really there yet. There's a new WordPress plugin that just came out that says it helps. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to evaluate. It's like,
What's it called?
I don't remember. I saw the announcement yesterday. It just came out this week. Yeah, and it says it helps optimize content for AEO. I haven't had a chance to look at it. It was like, I don't know if it's even on the market yet. They announced it's going to be available like next week or something. So whoever I can't remember who it was now. I wish I'd taken note of it. What's that? It wasn't Yoast. Yoast does have an AI feature set that they're adding now.
Was it a new plugin or an existing one?
It was a new one. Yeah, yeah. And the article said WordPress releases, because they didn't understand. It was like a third-party plugin for WordPress. And they said it was coming. Yeah, I can't recall what the name was. I wish I'd written it down. I'm kind of skeptical because they keep launching things and saying it's AI and AEO, and then you look at it, it's like, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
can see it working. I mean, you can do a lot with the WordPress page or post with
Oh, yeah.
plugins and all the fields they're asking you about.
Absolutely.
On the page.
I mean, if it would conflict with your SEO plugin is the other question. So there's like a lot to be determined yet, so.
Yeah, and or risk of crashing the site.
Right.
So.
Yeah, has it been tested with what versions? Maybe it's only good with the new version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings up a question in regards to the type of architecture these websites are being built off of that AI is looking at. So there's been an argument back and forth that certain sites are more built in a different language is superior than WordPress.
Hmm.
Then there's this bouncing back and forth about, hey, I have an easy button to find all the ways to destroy your WordPress site just by clicking the button and
Huh.
seeing these things. And that sale's been trying to get people away from switching their WordPress site to something else. What are, have you studied that at all as to what
No.
you know, the other languages, other programming,
Yeah.
things, other
I mean, like
schematics?
.NET versus PHP or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked into that. I've seen no one talking about it, so maybe you should test it and be the person that becomes known for figuring it out.
It's being talked in the different
Is it?
spaces of IT on it.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't seen it though. Interesting.
It probably worked for Webflow. Webflow's
Yeah.
correct.
What about
They
Webflow?
probably worked for Webflow because Webflow is built with React.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I have 4 more slides, so-
Webflow
okay.
Yeah, Web.
4, but one's just a book slide. Okay, okay. She's saying like, let's try to do the questions at the end because there's 4 more slides. The last one's just a closing slide, but yeah. So here's a cross LLM visibility case study. This is with a client that I was working with on data governance. Like, you might know who that is. The client was lacking citations for an important topic under this. In fact, they were lacking it for several important topics. So we needed to not just get them on Google search, they wanted multiple LLMs. So we went deep. We did deep keyword research, prompt research. We created their core topics, added them to a tracking tool, selected target. This is what I was talking about earlier. And then what we did is we pulled all the LLMs for their answers, ran a gap against what they had, and optimized everything to match across the models. So it was a pretty huge project. And we did this with many pages, but this is one page example here. Within 10 days, I guess we hit a training loop at that point. They actually started showing up on, well, the AI overview and Perplexity were, the real-time AEO. But Gemini and Bing Copilot also, they popped. So we've got lucky with those maybe, because they probably ran a training. We saw it as rapid improvement in cross-platform topical authority because other topics improved on at least the AEO platforms. We saw other topics that overlap this one start to improve. So they went from like the last cited source to third and things like that. So we're looking at not only were they there, but where. This didn't include sentiment because you got to be there first before you start working on what they say. So, but it worked, especially on the AEO side. I'd be curious to see where they are now as far as the other GEO LLM platforms to see if over time it's worked more because that contract was a couple months ago. Okay, lessons learned. Give them clear, structured answers and put it at the top. Build your pages for extraction if you want AI to like you. You can make small fixes and make a big difference. That's the big one. Like literally just rearrange a page, put stuff in the right place, structure it right. It might actually help. Like just doing that. Authority is huge. Topical authority, entity authority. Keep those both in mind. And you got to balance human and AI, and we talked about this earlier. I've got a whole thing I have a whole model of human plus AI that I talk about and I use actually in this. Because if you don't put the human piece in there, AI is like, it's the same thing everyone else is saying. So you've got to map those two together. I have a resource pack I put together. If anyone would like it, here's my email address. It's just like, some little worksheets you can work with, checklists, some sort of leave behinds as a thank you for coming. Just drop me an email, use that as the subject. and I'll send it back to you. You'll be sending it to me directly. Yeah. Oh, one more. And that's the book she told you about. If you want to get a copy, there's the QR code, so. Excuse me. Okay, that's the last slide. Okay, great. He had his hand up first, so can we do yours next? Okay.
So, right now, so when you say you want gap analysis,
Yeah.
it's showing patterns, writing down the gaps where you run these tools.
So the gap analysis on that case study you're talking about, I literally went to all the LLMs, one by one. I ran the prompt. I pulled out what they said, literally recorded it, locally saved it. And then I took the page they already had. Well, first off, I went through all those and I looked at what are the commonalities? Like, what are they all quoting the same? What's different? What I found is they each approach things differently, but they have a lot of overlap in what they say. So it's like, okay, you want to cast a net, right? And that's like keyword clusters for SEO. You'd want to cast a net. So you get a bunch of keywords, they kind of mean the same thing, and you try to optimize for the cluster. It's the same concept. It's like, okay, for this prompt, these are the things they talk about. How am I going to make this page the most likely to satisfy all of them? And so then I went through and analyzed that. I mapped it out, and this is this whole matrix thing, so I'm kind of a geek. But I mapped it all out. I was like, okay, here are the high points where I can hit the most of them, and then built a page structure, a recommended page structure around that, using the information on the existing page, and then adding to it when necessary. So it was a pretty big project.
And that leads to the same question. So, you say you don't like some of these tools that do that already, right?
What do you mean? No, I don't like to just hand it to AI. You got to be involved. Keep a human involved. Because AI without human oversight has hallucinations. It does. So here's the thing about LLMs. They're trained. They know what they know. If you ask them a question or ask them for something that they don't know how to answer, they're going to look at the pattern and the user, and they're going to give you the most likely successful answer with confidence. But it might not be true. It might not be based on anything other than, well, all the training data it has says this is the most likely answer. So that's when you call BS on them. Okay, so what is that based on, and is that really true? And they go, oh, very insightful of you to push back on that one. It's like, yeah, you're smoking crack over here. Stop it. Yeah. So that's the thing. Just give it AI. You're going to get whatever the probabilities say they should say versus necessarily what's the smartest and correct answer. Okay, we had a hand here. I'll get you next.
So I assume there are tools outside that helps you do AEO or GEO?
Sorta. You know, Write-Sonic has some features, the one I mentioned. They're starting to come up with some. I think Bright Edge or Conductor, one of those big ones, just said they've got a whole module they're releasing. I haven't seen it, right? I mean, maybe it's great, but I have no idea.
Follow-up. So let's say I change the markups and S tags and all. How quickly does AEO GEO adapt that change?
For AEO, it could be overnight. It could be fast. I mean, within 7 days, it may have been 2 days. I didn't look. I was like, I'll check back in 7 days, and that's where it was. So, yeah, we saw in some of the experiments we did with the client, we saw some things pop into the AI overviews or start to get, like, in fact, Perplexity, like, the same day. Like, where I fed the URL and said, hey, based on this, what do you think the list is? And it was like, oh, well, now I would adjust the list this way. And suddenly they were quoted in it. Yeah. Okay, we had a hand up here first, and then I'll get back to the two of you here.
So, the big innovation of SEO of search engines was
Yeah.
page rank, right?
Yeah.
That you couldn't just confer authority by using a word over and over again.
Right.
That, it was scarce, it was difficult, to actually get this signal of authority. So you're basically saying that, right now, if you can substantiate essentially what you're saying much better, that effectively is the signal of authority. Are we
one
about
of
to
'em.
see an explosion of fake research?
God, I hope not. I really hope not.
I mean, that's like the obvious
It's-
kind of like that.
LLMs don't know the difference between made-up data and real data. That's true. So the only thing is if consensus starts to push back on it, then they'll hear that too. So yeah, I hope not. I really do. God, black hat AI optimization would be awful. Yeah, probably. People. Okay.
So, was I understanding correctly on the cross-platform LMM, is that GEO that was also changing in 10 days, or no, just the?
So there were two answer engines and two generative engines that showed up. The thing is, the generative engines do training, right? So those two very well might have run a cycle of training that incorporated that data. So
How do they do training?
I have no idea. It's a good question. I think they're all different.
Because I've seen stuff on ChatGPT that's years old, and then I'll
Yeah.
ask it, and it'll be like, yeah, I trained on that years ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
get it together.
Yeah. Well, so super authoritative sources like entities they train on their updated content more frequently.
Okay.
So that's where the authority comes in. It might be like whoever they got it from, they're like, it's somebody I don't need to look at again.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Your book, which I just got.
Oh, thank you.
Does it have enough details that I can implement most of this on my own?
It's pretty detailed. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Look forward to it.
If you need more help, check in with me. I'm available to consult and help. Yeah.
Bargain.
I gotta ask, are you gonna write a return on now GPT to displace yourself?
Oh, no. No.
I didn't say replace, I said displace.
Display. Oh, you mean write the GPT and then charge for consulting and let it do the work? I like that idea.
Yeah, like you got your clone.
Yeah. Little mini me.
Put your book in there.
Yeah. Exactly. That's good. Yeah.
So for small business, small service business with a limited time and budget, what are the, like, minimal signals that actually make AI systems recognize it's real
Hmm.
and trustworthy entities? Like, what's usually like a waste of effort?
Hmm. Well, I mean, the semantic markup is a big one if you're not already doing it. But reevaluating like what topics you want to focus on and, and not focus on, because you have to focus somewhere and you have to go really deep. And then, I wouldn't like spend a ton of money and time on link building until you get a little bigger. It's important. It's still important. You still want links. But if you're spending a bunch of money on kind of low value links, it's not going to help you with AI at all. It might not even help you with Google at this point. But yeah, I would really focus on topic clusters, establishing the brand. So doing everything you need to do to brand yourself, which is going to help you otherwise anyway, right? It's part of running the business. Making sure your author and your brand entities and then your topics. Those three probably good first starts. The stuff on that 60, 90 day, like that stuff is really, so I'd revisit this. I can go back to it if you want a picture. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There it is. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's literally how you want to jumpstart it, spend the next couple months like just getting these things tidied up and
Yeah.
get to the rest later. Yeah. Yeah. We're out of time?
And
Okay.
is it in the order specifically clockwise? It doesn't matter.
No, it's just
Yeah, got it. Just get it
iterative.
done.
That just means iterative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of doing them simultaneously, but I feel like the green box is a great place to start because you might have content on topics, but you might not have it real deep, so reevaluate that. Am I just like writing about stuff?
500 words, something is what you
I mean, if you can, but at least 1,000. You can get it over 1,000.
Now, no, that brought up
Yeah.
something. Does AI have a way to analyze something that was created by another AI and put content?
It can tell you, yeah. I've taught my AI to write just like me, and then I just go in and edit a few things down. But it can, like damn M dash, like everyone knows that one at this point. The gerunds, the M dash, the long dash, the tell. As soon as you see the long dash, the M dash. is- Yeah. Yeah. I mean, M dash is a tell. AI's addicted to it. The M dash and the gerunds.
And
Like-
it's not this, it's that.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I hear in people's videos now, they're just reading a transcript or whatever they
Yeah.
created with AI.
Oh, yeah.
It's not this, it's that.
Yeah. And emojis. They use so many emojis. Like way more than a normal person would. I like to think.
So my question then on that, I know that we're out of time, but what kind of authority, because that's what the goal is for you, right? You're going to AI, to be able to show that you have authority, but at least to humans, it's clearly not authority, it's bullshit. So is this going to say,
Yeah.
hey, everything is generative AI? I mean,
Yeah.
you answered this already.
I mean, you got to have a human edge to it also. Like anything you do with AI, if it doesn't go through a person before it makes it out your door, shame on you. Like, I'm sorry to say it that way, but do not just push AI out. You can use it. It's great for efficiency. You get things faster. Like the ideation stuff he mentioned, like what am I missing? Running gap analysis. But then go, okay, now I'm going to sit down and take all the junk out and fix it. Like, because at the end of the day, it's still AI, and it's just consensus thinking. Sometimes the consensus thinking shows you what you missed. So, okay, I think we have to stop now. Thanks, everyone.
Life's too short for my photos.
Then will you take a picture of us, one of us, here, Shane, do you wanna do it? Here, take a picture of me and Tommy in front of Capital Factory. Just like this, stand here fast, and then we have to get a picture of me and you and Dennis. All right, that's it, no, we're done. I don't do landscape, landscape you can't get on.
Good to see you. I saw your name on it.
Thank you. All right, now we gotta do us fast.
I actually had a frozen oil. Yeah, I'll probably come back.
Melton landscape.
Looks like I got a AIO coming out
I
my
know,
head.
these lights are right here. Do this.
You do.
Wow.
This is the January. This is the January I'm looking at. It's better. Yeah, we should have done that. That light, my entire head glow. It was good.
So, in summary, what kind of level of clients do you work with? Like, what kind of budgets do they have to have?
Oh, I
can work with small, but it depends on what they want my personally.
All right, hey, you.
Strategy consultant. They want to say.
What we got, can we run it in front of all of these?
Oh, yeah, okay. Parking, all right, let's do this. I haven't seen it in so long. Take it.
Because I've had 3 website people in the last year get out of it.
I know this too.
Really?
So I'm not with
All right, let's do us three here.
I see any of your services with my contacts.
Here,
I'm not like in $300 projects, so like, you know, if I can. I actually have some things on my website, but I have some
Um,